Hello and welcome to the Stephen Mendes channel. Thanks for joining our show. Today we're looking at the Yamaha DX-27 again, and we're going to give you some simple tests to make sure that your hardware is working okay. These are going to be user tests rather than technician tests, and basically people are buying these things on eBay and they don't have an instruction manual and they're not sure about whether they're getting the correct results. So first of all, what can we expect when we first power it on? How should it behave on the display? Well, what we should see is a number of blocks followed by a turn on message. Both the turn on message and what tone comes up or what state it comes up in are totally dependent on you. You can change your startup message, and you can also realize that whenever you turn it on, it comes up in the same state that it was in when you shut it off. So we need now to see if the factory ROM is okay, and we should get the factory tones. Press the following 4 buttons in exactly this order. First, you press the internal button. Then you press the compare function button right above it. Then you pressed the bank A button here. Then you pressed the first button, number 1, here. Your display has to be reading F101 ivory ebony, otherwise you have a ROM error. It sounds like this, and that now might be a good time to play every key on the keyboard to make sure that they're all working. The next thing you might want to do is to go through your whole bank of 24 buttons. As you press each one, you will get a different tone and a different number in the display. It will go from F101 to F124. Let us press the 24, and we see that we have here on the display F124 folk guitar, which sounds like this. Okay, now as long as you've seen those two things and heard those sounds, your ROM, at least part of your ROM, is working fine. To test your entire ROM, you're going to have to go through both bank A, B, C, and D for all 24 buttons, and then you can press the shift button. Where is the shift button? There is no shift button on the DX-27. To get the shifted tones, you press and hold the internal button and press the +1 or yes button. So you hold down the internal button and you press the +1 button. You are now in the shift mode. If we now repeat the procedure, we press internal function bank A1. It says in the display F101 piano 1. So we get a different tone, although it's still saying F101 for the shifted keyboard as for the unshifted keyboard. So how does that sound? Now if we press 24 at that point, we go on to F124. Now instead of folk guitar, we have a big pipe. Now if you want to edit your factory preset tones, you're going to want to access those purple functions and or the brown or gold functions below the key. The brown or gold functions of the key are accessed pressing this function button first, and the purple functions are accessed by pressing this purple button here. The edit compare or the function compare will give you the access to these various parameters of the sound. Now, if you don't understand FM programming, you may get some problems because the functions are dependent on a knowledge of understanding how to set them. Certain of the functions will not work unless others have been set a certain way. So you have to really know what you're doing to be able to alter the sound in the way that you want. But since the purpose of this video is just to discover whether your keyboard is intact or not, we are going to quickly show you now a simple procedure that you can test to see if you are capable of editing your functions. Press internal, press function, and press button number 7, which has init voice underneath. Your display should read F init voice. Press the +1 or yes button, and your display will ask, are you sure? Once again, you press the yes button, and it will read E111. It may read something different over this side, but you're not bothered with that. What you want to do now is to touch the keys and hear the tone. If you hear the following tone, a simple sine wave tone, then your editing functions are quite intact. We'll see you soon again. Thanks for watching the Stephen Mendes Show.